Hi there. This is a casting rumor update for House of the Dragon, and it's a combination report because I'm going to be talking about new info we have on who's playing adult Laena Velaryon, adult Helaena Targaryen, and Aemma Arryn, Rhaenyra's mother, Queen Aemma, who will die early on, then he has to remarry Alicent. Also, some new updates on young Aemond. I'm sorry, this is a combination report. I've been behind schedule. Like I said in another video, my cat's ill with a heart condition, so I'm really behind schedule, and he's on medication now, so I'm catching up with this. To dive into it, I'm going to start with the ones we have the most confirmation for, or the ones we're most confident about, and towards the end I'm going to go to the more speculative ones. But to start with Laena Velaryon, this is confirmed. We saw the actress in a spy photo. That adult Laena Velaryon will be played by Swedish actress Nanna Blondell. You may have seen that we have young Laena was already cast, Savannah Stain, who does appear in the teaser trailer. This is adult Laena. And it's strange that, well, I guess there's a reason why, that they list young and adult Laenor for the two actors that play that role. They only list Savannah as just Laena without specifying young or old, but adult Laena isn't in it that much, so I can see why they did that. That realistically, guys, Laena Velaryon dies in childbirth, and we know that the time skip is between episodes 5 and 6, and from spy reports, we know that episode 7 is the big funeral scene for Laena Velaryon. So she might only be playing the role in one, possibly 2 episodes. So this isn't the hugest announcement of who is playing Laena. Maybe she'll have a lot of scenes in a relatively short... I don't know how much she's in this compared to Savannah. But okay, yes, she is playing Laena Velaryon, because it was leaked out in a Swedish news site, I'm posting this up here now, that she is in House of the Dragon in a prominent role. Then enterprising fans realized she was in a spy photo from when they were filming in Granada, Spain, at the La Calahorra Castle, which we think might be Pentos. Because in the story, Daemon gets exiled from court for a while, so he goes, okay, I'll go and live in Pentos for a while. Because he was at war with the Triple Alliance of the southern free cities who are enemies of Pentos, so Pentos welcomed him with open arms as an ally. So he spent a lot of time in Pentos. His twin daughters with Laena were born in Pentos, that Bela and Rhaena. They even call her Rhaena of Pentos just to distinguish her from all the other Rhaenas. So we think that was going on there, but I've said this in other videos, that when we get a casting rumor, and then hopefully we go through all of our spy photos, hoping that maybe we can see this person in a scene, and she is in scenes with Matt Smith. So she is assuredly Laena. And again, it's easier when it's not someone who's like a 30-year-old white male. There's tons of those in this show, but someone who's of either very young, very old, or a specific race narrows down our search of who else could this be. That if she's having major scenes with Daemon, and she's in this age range, she must be adult Laena. So we're 99% on that. This is all but confirmed in my mind. I tried to look up her profile. It says she's of Ghanaian descent, but grew up in Stockholm. She had got a drama degree in Stockholm. She was actually in the Black Widow movie. Nanna Blondell. The scene where they're in Hungary and they're being chased along the rooftops, and one of the other Black Widows falls and breaks her leg, and then they remote mind control her to kill herself. That was Blondell. She was in an MCU movie, so she was in that. She was also in a 2019 Norwegian crime show, Twin, starring Christopher Hivju. So here she is with Tormund. So I get a decent number of viewers on my channel from Scandinavia, so tell me if you've seen that TV show. Again, this isn't the biggest role for adult Laena. Most of it's young Laena. She might be this for an episode or two. At most, she might be playing her corpse in episode 7, but die at the end of episode 6 for all I know. But it might be a one-shot, one-episode thing, but still, it's adult Laena. She's a dragon rider. It's nice to have this. And we're pretty sure on this. This isn't a major role, but tied to that, the whole Pentos thing. Other news came out that actor Ravi Ajula has been cast. This is on his CV. It lists him as a Pentoshi surgeon in an episode directed by Miguel Sapochnik. Now, Sapochnik is directing episodes 1, 6, and 7. And we know 6 and 7 are the 2 episodes that Laena Velaryon would appear in. So that lines up. That my running guess is he's some sort of Pentoshi surgeon in her household. She'd returned from Pentos by that point. But she died in childbirth, not to Baela and Rhaenyra, but to a stillborn baby. Didn't live very long. That he's probably going to be the surgeon trying and failing to save her life when she has a really bad... She died from blood loss. So yeah, I think he is part of her storyline. That raises the question of would we actually see them going to Pentos, or would they just mention it and have... Tabo Mott was from Quohor in Season 1 of Game of Thrones. Doesn't mean we saw Quohor on screen. Maybe he's a Pentoshi surgeon who came to Driftmark. I don't know. But it's this whole thing that when he went to the Free Cities, he settled in Pentos eventually, but first he went on the Grand Tour. They actually have a Grand Tour of all the major Free Cities. Well, he didn't go to the Triple Alliance ones in the south, but he went to Volantis, who also didn't like the Triple Alliance. He went to Quohor, to Norvos, and then to Pentos. So I've been saying this for a while. My hope is that they have like a 2-minute montage of... In the book it says Daemon and Laena rode their dragons around a couple of Free Cities before settling in Pentos. I'd like to see these on screen. It wouldn't be I know you can't build a fully realized set, then only put it on screen for 10 seconds. I want like a matte painting showing this is what Quohor is like. This is what Norvos is like, because it's never been on screen before. I mean, even Volantis, like the CGI shot of the Long Bridge wasn't physical, then they did have a set in that. That's different, but like the Eyrie had a matte painting for the exterior of the castle. I'm just looking for a matte painting. They don't need to actually build a new set for each of the Free Cities. Just a montage showing this is to help branch out for other spin-offs eventually, to get it in the mind of the live-action viewers. These are other Free Cities. It would be really nice to see Pentos again, however, briefly, because, it's one of the 3 Free Cities that we actually saw on screen in Game of Thrones. We saw Pentos in Season 1 briefly, then we saw Braavos, starting in Season 4, then really in Season 5, and in Season 5 we saw a little of Atlantis. We've only really seen 3 of them, and while House of the Dragon has fewer storylines around the world, it doesn't have the Daenerys storylines with the Dothraki and Karth or Slaver's Bay, it is a little more focused on the Free Cities, because the 2 sides in the Civil War pull in allies from rival Free Cities. And we've seen that in spy photos. They'll be fighting the Free Cities and the Stepstones, the Triple Alliance and the Stepstones, but we'll have to see how that goes. But it'll be a fun tie-in to, look, here's another familiar location. There's King's Landing, there's Dragonstone. Driftmark will be a new location. It's not that far from Dragonstone. But a lot of the Season 1 story on this is contained. I mean, there's stuff in the Stepstones, but it would be nice to see Pentos again, for people to just remember, oh yeah, Season 1 of the other show. That rounding it out and building it out a little more. But that's what's going on with Laena and the Pentos thing. That isn't a rumor. That guy's been cast as a Pentoshi surgeon. It's just what context will we see him in. Nana Blondell, definitely adult Laena. I mean, they listed her. We have a spy photo of her doing a scene with Matt Smith. That's all locked in there. The more complicated thing is Helaena Targaryen. Now, as I said, as I progress, there's going to be less certainty. I still think Evie Allen is playing young Helaena. I've talked about this in an earlier video. I'm not going to repeat it, but it's It's based on the who are they following on social media method, which I didn't originate. VK Glenn originated that, but it worked out pretty well. We were able to accurately predict that, Millie Alcock and Emily Carey seem to be big roles in this. I didn't accurately guess who they were playing, but we guessed they'd been cast. But Evie Allen, based on her age range, that there aren't that many other young girls who are that prominent, would be Helaena. We don't know if Jane Arryn is going to be in season 1, and even if she is, there probably won't be a young one. Would we see a young Joanna Westerling who marries the Lannister heir? For a while, I thought some of them might be that. Now, I'm not sure. I'm going to talk about at the end of the video of other young actresses we think are in the show that we can't account for yet. But Evie Allen, based on her Targaryen look and the people she's following, we still think is young Helaena. The big update here is I've changed my mind, and someone who I thought was playing a different role, I now think is playing adult Helaena, which will be a role on the show for a couple of years. This isn't just a one-shot, one-episode thing. I made a previous video in which I said actress Fia, is it Saban or Sabin? I tried to find a clip of her saying it aloud, I couldn't. I made a video about a month ago saying I think Fia is young Jane Arryn, based on the fact that from other spy reports we suspect that Millie Brady is playing adult Jane Arryn. We don't even know if Jane Arryn is in season 1 in any capacity, even as an adult. This was just wishful thinking, maybe. But because of the role that Millie Brady plays as Ethelflaed on The Last Kingdom, and Fia plays her daughter, as the seasons progress, by the final season, her daughter's grown up, she plays her daughter. What happened was, we are watching the social media accounts of the new casting director for this show, Kate Rose James. So whenever a career actor suddenly starts following her, fans on Reddit and the boards notice, this new actor has mysteriously started following them. Then, as soon as other fans, not me, but other people posted, wow, Fia is following the casting director on the subreddit, within hours, Fia scrubbed her Twitter account. That's worse. That only makes it, we already know, and now trying to hide it only confirms to us that there was something to hide. That you could arguably claim, well, oh no, I'm not for House of the Dragon, I'm for some other project. The fact that you panicked when House of the Dragon subreddit noticed means you're in the show. The question is, who is she playing? I'm confident Fia is in the show. So a month ago I made this video saying, well, she's Millie Brady's daughter on Last Kingdom, and we know she was just following the casting director. Maybe she's playing a young version of whoever Millie Brady is playing, probably Jane Arryn. I'm no longer convinced of that because, well, there was an update. Within the past month, she started following and being followed by a ton of major cast members on House of the Dragon. This was not there when I checked it a month ago. She was only following Millie Brady. Since then, she has started not only following but being followed by director Claire Kilner. And like I said, what really put it over the top and convinced us Millie and Emily must be on the show is this isn't just a social actor thing. When even a director is following you, it probably means they were cast. That when Claire Kilner was following them, that really convinced us. So Fia is being followed by Claire Kilner, Emma Darcy, who's Rhaenyra, Fabian Frankel, who's Kristen Cole, the Tittensor twins, who play the Cargyle twins, Bethany Antonia, who we think is playing Baela, adult Baela, Harry Collette, who we're pretty sure is teenaged Jake Velaryon, and Emily Carey herself. That they weren't following each other a month ago, and suddenly they are. So I don't think this is a minor one-shot character like, hey, I'm young Jane Arryn at a tournament for a cameo to set up the adult version later. This many people would not be interacting with her. But in this specific case, what really put me over the top for Fia Saban is probably playing adult Helaena Targaryen, is just last week when all the photos were going around Instagram as cast members posted selfies from the wrap parties. The week of Valentine's Day was like Valentine's Day was like the Monday, that the Tuesday or Wednesday after that was the wrap party. And fan sites and subreddit were trying to go through all their posts of who they're with. Olivia Cooke posted a photo of herself from the wrap party with a couple of other actors, including Fia. And that might just be she's friends with someone from an unrelated storyline, but Olivia Cooke plays adult Alicent, and Helaena is her daughter. That adult Helaena, in the end of season, by the end of season timeline, Olivia would play Alicent, and her daughter Helaena would be played by Fia. That put it over the top, that they're taking selfies with each other. Clearly they know each other reasonably well. And Olivia backed away from Instagram because so many people were trying to get spoilers from her. Just because we're examining it a lot. And she said she only really used it because she was bored during quarantine. She's not really a social media person. But point is, this many follows suddenly. I needed to update this. That based on the info I had at the time, she was only being followed by Millie Brady. I thought maybe she plays her daughter. I'm still not even sure if Millie Brady is in the show, much less as Jane Arryn. But all of these cast members plus a director following her, taking photos with Olivia Cooke at the wrap party. Fia Saban is, I'm 90% on this, that she is adult Helaena. And the last of the three big ones in this is Aemma Arryn. Also an update to someone I thought was playing a different role. You might remember a couple of weeks ago I made a video about Sean Brooke. I now think Sean Brooke is probably playing Aemma Arryn, King Viserys' first wife and Rhaenyra's mother. Because, well, if you remember my original video, by process of elimination, I said, based on her age range in her 40s, and that she's not in it that much in season 1, that she only must have appeared there for a week or two based on her filming schedule. She's not like a Helaena scale character, but she wouldn't be. I said, based on process of elimination, she's not a Northerner, she's not a Martell, there's no one in the Iron Islands. I said there's three candidates. She's either Alice Rivers, Boros Baratheon's wife, Elenda Caron, or Aemma Arryn. That she'd be old enough to be the mother of someone else. And we know the Baratheon girls, they're casting teenagers. So I thought early season 1, she could be either the Baratheon mother or Rhaenyra's mother. And I think my breakdown was, like I said, I'm 90% she's Alice Rivers, 10% she's Elenda Baratheon, and outside chance that I'm not going to rule out that she's Aemma Arryn. So I did mention that's a candidate, but thinking on it, without any new evidence, just thinking on it, and with arguments other people raised, I'm really leaning back towards that she's Aemma Arryn. That we have no evidence that Alice Rivers will be in season 1. That so much of my opinion on that was I based it on I explained she was in the Sherlock show with Benedict Cumberbatch, and she played his long-lost sister who's, like doing the evil Hannibal Lecter thing, and I thought, seeing that clip, I thought she'd make a really good Alice Rivers, based on her prior roles, but other people argued to me successfully, wouldn't they cast someone unusually young to play Alice Rivers? The whole point is, Alice looks unnaturally young to the point people think she's using blood magic to keep herself young. It's not a glamour. We don't think it's a glamour. They say, we suspect she bathes in blood to make herself look younger. That Mushroom said that she was 60 years old, but she looked 30. And the other two historians that talk about this dismiss that as fantasy, but then begrudgingly admit, if she was Lionel Strong's bastard daughter and he died so many years ago, just doing the math, she had to be at least 40. And even these guys who don't believe in magic said she did not look 40. She looked 30 or younger, to the point it was really unsettling and unusual. Based on everyone who ever met her said she did not look that old. Alicent isn't unnaturally young. They said she kept her figure even after 4 childbirths. Alicent held up really well. You got the gray hair here or there, that she held up pretty well, and much like Olivia Cooke, she's got that kind of rounded, childish face that doesn't seem to age that much, but you could tell Alicent was just holding up well, but a little older. No, like, you look at Alice Rivers and you think, are you like 25? And she has to be at least 40. Plus, she's a romantic interest for Aemond Targaryen. And not that, okay, maybe he fell in love with someone of any age. They're going to cast someone opposite him, and it's a plot point that she looks really young. And the clips of her and Sherlock are already 5 years old, that she looks like she's someone's mother, and the whole point is Alice doesn't look like she's someone's mother, age-wise, early 40s. So while I wouldn't rule out a Linda Baratheon, outside chance, outside really Alice Rivers, I've now switched them now. That now I'm 90% that Sean Brooke is probably Queen Aemma Arryn Viserys' first wife. No new evidence, just people arguing to me, like, based on her age range, what could they realistically be doing with this? Those were the three big ones. That Nana Blondell is definitely adult Laena. We have spy photos of her. We're reasonably sure that Fia Saban is adult Helaena. Based on things changed, there was a lot more evidence from social media that she's following so many more cast members, that she's taking pictures with Olivia Cooke. And just reassessing my video on Sean Brooke, we know Sean Brooke is in the show. It's on her resume now. It's just a question of who is she playing. That, yeah, I'm leading back towards Aemma Arryn. Because also she's a really big actress. I don't think she can make a big time commitment. And she wasn't on season 1 for that long. Some catch-up news while I'm here. Young Aemond. In my prior videos I said, we're definitely sure he's being played by Dylan Hughes. Now we're not so sure. I didn't originate this. This is everyone debating it out of the subreddit. And we haven't come to a consensus. Because there's a couple of kids on the social media following everyone who are the right age. Well, the issue is we have a lot of spy photos of young Aemond claiming Vhagar on a beach. We see him interacting with the blue screen prop that we're going to CGI in a dragon here. We know it's Aemond. And they're really good spy photos from Cornwall. We've had them since May, actually, but the question is, I mean, they're good for spy photos, but they're a little blurry, and he's wearing a white wig. So we can't see, I'm surprised we got spy photos this good, but they're still not something really unique about him. So then when we compared the spy photos of this kid with a couple of other kids that are following the other children who we confirmed are in it, some of them look pretty similar. That there's Dylan Hughes, but then there's this other boy, Leo Ashton. You see, the two boys really look alike, and blurriness of photos, either one of them could plausibly be the boy in these photos. We don't know. Now, realistically, young Aemond is only going to be in 2 episodes at most. Just like adult Helaena, that the time skip is between episodes 5 and 6. He's born during the time skip. Then we know Laena's funeral is in episode 7, where he claims Vhagar and gets an eye slashed out. We're reasonably sure, based on rumors, that there is another brief time skip between episodes 7 and 8, where they switch to the adult versions of the children. That we know from the spy video we had of the funeral that there's child versions of Aemond, of Aegon II, of Rhaenyra's sons, Jake and Luke. And then there's going to be a time skip, and then in episode 8 they have this awkward family dinner with the adult versions now played by Jake as Harry Collette, Aemond as Ewan Mitchell. So this kid's only going to be playing it for 2 episodes, but he is pretty much the central character of the funeral episode, because it's this central fight between the 2 sets of children from the rival branches. He gets his eye slashed out. So he is a major focus as a child actor in these 2 episodes. Like, I don't think the young Luke actor would have nearly as much focus as this kid, and dealing with that he got wounded like that. Or young Helaena, really, isn't going to do that much compared to young Aemond has something really big to do out of all the child actors. So it's reasonably important to find out who this is, but when it comes to child actors, they're just children. I mean, what difference would it make to us functionally who's playing them? It's not like they've been in that much before this that we can really assess their roles. Like, adult Aegon II is Tom Glencarney, we know from spy reports. Ewan Mitchell has been in Last Kingdom. We can judge how he performed in that and guess how he's going to do in House of the Dragon. But child actors who haven't been in anything, it doesn't really make a difference whether we know who's playing them or not. So I'm not losing sleep over this. Similarly, I'm not going to name names. We know from social media that they have been casting several young toddlers to be playing real infants and toddlers. And they've been casting sets of twins. And we know you cast twins because there's labor laws about 3-year-olds. They're not playing twins. They're like when Daenerys' baby in a dream sequence in Season 2, Rhaego, was played by a set of twins. There's a limited number of work hours per day. That's common practice. That we know that there will be younger children because they've been casting toddlers who we know from social media are in it, that pairs of toddler twins. I'm not going to give out their names because privacy for very small children. I respect that, and even if I told you who they are, what difference would it make? You're just going to harass their mother. It wouldn't change anything, and I'm not even sure who they're playing, because there's very small children on both sides. The rumor we heard is they haven't cut out a single character. They might not appear prominently this season, but they'll mention that Aegon II has 3 children with Helaena, and they may or may not appear on screen as more than just a baby in one scene. We've heard rumor that Rhaenyra's other sons, Aegon III, Viserys II, and even Joff, will be in Season 1. The rumor we heard is that when she comes back, when everyone comes back from the time skip in Episode 6, it's Rhaenyra returning to court to present her third son, Joff, to the king, and they're introducing all 3 of her sons with Laenor in one burst to emphasize none of these 3 children look like her, or like Laenor, and the suspicion that they're bastards. So they're not going to be characters because they're too young in Season 1. Like, think Season 1 Tommen, who had no speaking lines. And not just toddlers, like some of them might be literally babies or prop babies, because they're not characters. Like Viserys II, I don't think they'd even need a live baby for. Well, no, they would in like a shot or two, but what we heard is that everyone's in it, but they might not be on screen, or, dude, they're so young, they might turn into characters by Season 2, but they're going to hold off on that, is what we heard. So that's what's going on with just the rumors we heard of who they're casting. There are younger ones. Young Aemond we're not sure about because we have really good spy photos, but there's a couple of kids following the other kids who plausibly look like the boy in the spy photos. And I'm actually leaning more towards Leo Ashton because Dylan Hughes is a lot older now. You know, at that age where they're growing really fast, I'm wondering if he's too old to be that boy. I don't know.